Good afternoon, everybody. That's what I like, because I want it to be interactive here. It's nothing worse than a monologue, especially if it's me boring you about what we've been doing. Because we think it's brilliant, but you might think it's not.
That's brilliant.
It's brilliant, thank you. And that's a fiver afterwards. So, my first question really is, it's for a show of hands if you've managed to get a taste of our gins yet. Okay, you need to go and fix that. So basically I'm going to tell you a wee story about the journey that we've had to be able to produce these gins. But if you haven't seen them yet, they're very, very different. The title of the talk is for World's First Gins. So we're pretty sure it's the world's first chocolate mint gin. We've got sweet citrus. Citrus is a normal kind of taste in a tonic, but ours is a sweet citrus. If you want to know more about how they're made, just keep asking me questions. The mocha is the next one along, so obviously coffee and chocolate is the signature botanical there. And then at the end we've got smoky chili. So smoky chili is not a vindaloo, and it's just a nice kind of nip on the back of your throat. But the interesting thing, or the important thing we think about the gins are, when you see those sort of flavours, your mind goes to a gin liqueur. Okay, so these aren't liqueurs. There's nothing in the manufacture of these gins that has happened after distillation. So we distill the flavours into the gin. We bottle it at 42%, so it's not a liqueur. The chocolate mint doesn't taste like an after eight. So because the gin is distilled, then first and foremost it's a gin. It's 42% spirit. It's clear, so there's no fruit or any flavours added after distillation. So that's just what the gins are. The other thing that's perfectly obvious, which is why I've got them up here on display, is that we think we've got probably one of the world's best bottles as well. So this is a handmade ceramic bottle, and we're told so far that nobody's thrown them away yet. So I'm going to kind of get on with the, I don't know quite how to work this, but I'm led to believe there's somebody up there who's going to press a button for me. And it hasn't got audio, I'm sorry, we're just going to play a wee video. That was before I grew a beard, obviously. It's better with the music. There's some good music there. That's our building.
What was your business before?
It's a natural progression, really, from selling corporate software to making gin. Yeah. So I'm a mechanical engineer, and for about the past 20-something years, I've been on the corporate sales side of running around the world selling. I got to try a lot of gins, yeah. So it was good market research, I would say. We've got this girl who does this work for us. She's out there serving gin at the moment, but she's got a sense of humour. Rosie, of course, is one of our Springer Spaniels. It always makes for a good presentation. Everybody likes the dog picture. But anyway, let's go on with the journey. I'll kind of get out of the way here. I'm conscious of hiding behind this. So, 19th of July last year, my wife and I on a Sunday afternoon were enjoying some gin, and I was in the throes of changing from one job to another. And after a couple of gins, I kind of thought, you know what, I'm not excited about this. I really don't want to have another job running around selling software. So after another 3 or 4 gins, maybe it was more, we decided we're going to make gin. So, as it says there, the following morning I called my boss and told him I'm not coming back. And the biggest problem with that, I mean, it sounds like a great thing to do, right? I mean, everybody loves the idea of doing that. I actually did it. But 5 minutes after you've done it, and then the euphoria has kind of dropped off a bit, you suddenly come to the conclusion nobody's going to pay you any money anymore. Following week we registered the company, Crossroads Distillery Limited. The gin was always going to be McQueen Gin. I mean, that's our name, right? So there's some pretty cool guys who have gone before me with the name McQueen, so we thought we'd kind of make some mileage out of that. It played havoc with getting the logo right, by the way, because if you take a Q and put an MC in the middle, Alexander McQueen's already done that. So really, you've got some juggling to do to get a logo that nobody's going to complain about. In late August, about a month later, a couple of weeks later actually, I flew down to southern Germany and I committed £60,000 of money I didn't have to distilling equipment. So that's on a 6-month lead time, and I figured since I wasn't getting paid anymore, I better get to the point of selling gin as quickly as possible. So we ordered the equipment, and at that point in time we had no building to put it in, and we had no license to use it. So it was kind of reckless, but we were driven because of the timing that we had. And 3rd of June we launched the product, all 4 gins in about 10 months from the kind of boozy Sunday afternoon idea. We set that date about March, which was before the still actually got here, and we launched it anyway. So this comes from a kind of dissatisfaction with my life for 20 years, because when you're going around selling corporate software to big companies, right, first of all, there's no passion involved in it. There's very little honesty involved in it. And integrity, you can just forget about that. So we kind of thought, since we're making a bit of a sea change here, we're going to do it with some principles behind us. Okay. So in February 2016, this is what it looked like. The building was actually an old stone barn building. The walls were in good shape, the roof was in good shape, it had water coming in through one pipe, and it had an electricity supply. That was it. There was no drains. So we started work on the building in February. About the same time, from that kind of impulsive moment down in southern Germany where I ordered the equipment, they'd actually got to the stage of building it. But that's still in the factory in Germany in February 2016. Or February this year. Seems like a long time ago. So that's what it looks like now. So the stills there, these are holding tanks. When you make gin, if you're going to smooth it out, not like whiskey where you have to rest it for about 10 years, you put the gin out of the still into a holding tank and into an inert environment. You can just about see that there's vents here that vent to air. So when you dilute the gin to 50% or so, put it in there with access to air, some chemistry happens. And that's the starting point, which is the ethanol that comes in. It's 96% ABV. Most of the guys out there make their gin like this. So you dilute that, you put it in the still, and you add all the magic ingredients, and you distill it and handcraft and filter around with it, and you get something nice. But we've made some fantastic gins, and I hope if you haven't tried them yet, you'll get the chance to try them. I have hired a distiller. I'm disappointed he's not in the room, actually. But he started with me 2 weeks ago. So he's a master's graduate out of the Heriot Watt distilling course, which is where most of the best distillers in the country come from. We think he's one of the most talented, so the products that you see there are going to change and evolve. So please, if you've been to our stand, put your email address down there. You'll get the newsletter, and it'll tell you what we're doing. So we made fantastic gins. Danny will make more fantastic gins, but he'll know why they're fantastic. All right. That's the product. If you haven't seen it, you see it there. It's a hand. They actually hand make these bottles. So a big company in Staffordshire called Wade, been there for a couple of 100 years. They've got very automated production lines. They make a lot of drinks industry bottles, and then they've got a couple of lines of guys who pour liquid clay into molds. And then because they've done it for 20 years, they know because of the temperature and the humidity in the room when to pour that out. And that determines the wall thickness of the bottle. So by definition, because these ones are handmade, each one is slightly different, which gives you logistical problems when you start to fill them, but that's another story. Yeah, we think we've got the bottle right. The gin's good, but we really think we've got the bottle right. So what we'd like you to do is all of that. Because all of that money that I've spent that I didn't have, I haven't quite got it back yet. So if you enjoy it, then take some home. And I'm just about done really, but I'm hoping there's some questions because the good drinks are just coming out. So don't be intimidated. There's a big group, but. So the question is, where can you buy it? That's a good question. So you can buy it online on our website. Because yeah, well done. So yeah, if you're in Glasgow, you know Glasgow, and you know the Great Western Road, we would recommend you go to Valhalla's Goat.
So what is in this one?
That one is our signature serve for sweet citrus gin. So what we've got in there is we've got a strawberry, which we've kind of broken to release the flavour. We've cracked some black pepper in it. Then we put the ice in, then the gin, then Fever Tree elderflower tonic, and the guys have cut a nice spiral of grapefruit as well for a garnish. So yeah, that's a nice drink. Yeah. Good.
What experience expect drinking to have with gin before? That evening when you were drinking gin and thinking of quitting your job.
Yeah, I guess if we go back a good number of years, if you take what we've got available in terms of gin at the moment, you're completely spoiled. Even going back 5 years or so, I guess Henrik started the whole thing with a stoneware bottle and a gin that had cucumber and rose in it. You know, and no one had done that, because up until that point, gins were gin. You know, it tasted like gin. Some were a lot better than others, you know, in terms of their quality and smoothness, but they were all just gin. So, you know, gin and tonic is gin and tonic. And in my travelling around selling software, I became quite fond of Tanqueray and tonic, and I drink quite a lot of that. But my gin drinking experience wasn't great, really. And since 5 years back, when all these craft gins started to come to market with specialist gin bars and the combination of flavoured tonics and different garnishes, I mean, it's just turned 100%. You know, you couldn't imagine standing here 10 years ago talking about gin and tonic, could you?
How did you come up with your flavors?
Another good question. You're good. front row, saved it for them. So yeah, the flavors were. I'm trying to think of something that wasn't a guess. Well, they weren't really a guess. We done about 100 or so experiments in a wee still in the time between when I chucked my job in and when we managed to get the distillery going. So we're thrashing around trying to find something that wasn't going to blend in with everything else. Because the one thing we did figure out was that with the gin market being as it is, and with the number of gins available, if we'd brought a gin to the market that kind of tasted like a gin and we put it in a glass bottle, then with all the established brands, I don't know how we would have found a market for it. So we knew we had to address two things fundamentally. This is from a business perspective. It's got nothing to do with gin. I just realised that we had to do something different with terms of flavour. And really different, because a lot of gins talk about being different flavour, and unless you're a seasoned gin drinker, 500 out of 600, you won't tell the difference really, especially when you mix it with tonic. So we knew we had to play around with the flavours, and we knew we had to produce something that looked different. So the flavours, I guess, about 100 or so experiments. We probably overall asked about 2,000 or 3,000 people what they thought of the different experiments, and then that's when my engineering background kicked in. We created a spreadsheet and tried to categorise the answers, and what we were trying to do was find common themes, and we found three very common themes, and very strong. It wasn't like they were merged together when you actually tried to analyse the results. We identified chili, we identified chocolate, and we identified citrus, and we didn't expect to identify chocolate. So we knew we had to create gins of that ilk, and as soon as I identified that there was some theme for people liking chocolate in gin, or chocolate flavour in gin, it just popped into my head that we should create chocolate mint. Because I knew if we were coming to the market with chocolate mint gin, then nobody else was doing that. So really that's where it came from, and then we honed the recipes, and then the fun bit was trying to scale it from a 1 litre batch to a 250 litre batch. So that was, and we got lucky on that. We asked.
How do you do that then?
Well,
is it guesswork?
No. It would have been guesswork if I didn't ask anybody. But one of the good things about...
It's just because you said no one's done it, yeah?
Yeah, no one had done a chocolate mint gin.
So who knows about it?
Well, we created the original recipe in a small scale, and we had tested it on a lot of people, so we knew it was a nice gin. But really, the difficulty from a production perspective and an R&D perspective is to take that and stick it into the 250 litre batch of spirit, and it frightened me to death, to be honest. Because once you make that, yeah, it's expensive mistakes. And as I say, we got pretty lucky, but we had asked a lot of people, and a lot of the guys out there, it's not really a competitive environment because it's a big market. So a lot of them were very helpful in terms of spending an afternoon with me. I went around most of the distilleries, and all my questions were generally geared to how do I get it scaled up, because it's not linear. You can't just multiply the amount of Juniper in that volume to a 250 litre batch. So I kind of took, it's almost like the spreadsheet example, I took about 10 different answers, kind of looked to see if there was commonality between the answers, and then I did some guessing. And then, in that particular period, it all had to happen very quickly because of our launch date, and I wasn't going to miss that because I was skint. And so what I did was I decided that I was going to distill in 100 litre batches because it was a less costly mistake. And because if I made a cork up of one, I could overcompensate in the next and pump it together into the holding tank. So for the first batch of each flavour, they were done in 3 100-litre batches. But to be honest, I was surprised that pretty much the first 100-litre batch of each of them was about right. So I didn't actually change much on the second two. So now we've got it pretty well honed, and the development plan is underway. Danny's at the back of the room now. Big round of applause for the most talented distiller in Scotland. So,
how much gin have you distilled?
we've bottled 3,000 bottles. If you've seen the 4-pack that we have out there as well, the 100 millilitre bottles, we've made about 1,000 of those. But you know, we're selling those at a huge rate. So we have to keep making to fill those.
And these are numbered, probably? Like 1,001, 1,002, 1,003?
And we think that's a bit pretentious. But of course the duty stamps are numbered. So no, we don't. And again, thanks to Danny, we've now got a traceability process in place, so that if somebody doesn't like the gin or there's something wrong with it, you know, we know where most of it's gone. It's not happened yet.
So are you sticking to these 4, or have you got plans for more flavours?
I should call him onto the stage, but he's probably not thanked me. So one of the key bits of feedback we've had from the 3 months so far is we love the flavours, we love the bottle. They're selling really well, thanks for that. But a lot of customers are saying, "Where's your normal gin?" And if I'm being really arrogant, my response is, well, there's plenty of normal gins. You know, why would we want to make one of those? But the arrogance gets completely toned down when you start to think commercially. So if people are asking for that, then maybe we should make one. So that's the first part of the development plan. We're going to make a McQueen dry gin, and that'll be released in October, I think. And it's going to be more of a gin, but as you probably guessed by the rest of the talk, you should look out for something that's a bit different in it. So we've got some pretty good ideas now. The experimentation is well underway, and we'll be scaling that up soon. We're also going to do, no secret here, we're going to publish this, we're going to do a seasonal gin. So we're going to, you know, people hopefully will see, expect the McQueen summer gin, the McQueen autumn gin, because each season will be different. Spring of 2016 or 2017 will be different from spring of 2018 and so forth, but we will rotate that. Some of those gins will make it into what we call our core range, and we'll repeat those and we'll rotate them. But the idea is to keep it fresh. You know, we think that's another market advantage we have, of having the flexibility to do that and not be reliant on a single flavour, you know, just pumping that out. I know people will have their favourites of gin and they'll keep buying them, but we want to give the market a little bit more variety. So that's what we're going to do. And then the other thing that, I mean, this is great, this job we've got now, because you can come in the morning, go home at night, and by the time you've gone through that day, your whole business plan's changed. You know, what are we going to do next? So we really think we're going to do an infusion for the Christmas market. So departing from our everything's done in the still concept to actually macerating some flavours. And we've got our eye on a combination of slow and something else. So kind of look out for that, and make sure you're on our mailing list for the newsletter, and we'll keep everybody updated on that. But that's one of the products that we're looking at for Christmas. And because it's a macerated gin and it won't be a 42% gin, obviously it's kind of a flavoured product. We won't put it in the ceramic bottle. We don't want to confuse this brand. When you see this ceramic bottle, it's a 42% gin, and it's got fantastic flavours layered on top of it. Even the McQueen dry gin, which will have a white top on it. So that's about the development plan. That's probably enough to be going on with.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thanks for listening.